Good evening, gentlemen. I'm not even using the term loosely. How is everybody? Good to see you. Well, here we are, Shut-ins Anonymous, and I don't know about you, but this is really getting old for me. And it's not that I couldn't go out and fly or anything, but the weather sucked. It's just been crazy. It's been for the past week. It's been windy, and then today it rained all day, and tomorrow will probably be windy again. So I don't think I've flown in almost 2 weeks, which other than around the house a little bit, which has really really it's been boring the hell out of me. I've been trying to work on my different models and things, but it it has it has really been different. Even though I don't have much of a life to speak of, that I go out a lot normally, but just something different about this whole thing. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that's just getting a little tired of this, and I'm happy to see that the powers that be are starting to make noises about opening things back up again. But unfortunately, I think there's a faction in this country that would rather see the country go down the tubes so they could blame our president, Mr. Trump, for it, and could care less about the effect that it's actually having on anybody, or how many jobs are lost. And you can hear it. You can just hear it in their questions at these press conferences and things, and it's absolutely thoroughly disgusting. And it's got me to the point now where I'm having a hard time just watching any of it and listening to any of it. I don't know about the rest of you. So we're here. We're here, and took me a little time to kind of get my enthusiasm up to do this tonight. I got to be honest with you. I just and I don't suppose I'm the only one, and I can see by the fact that I just sent out some emails, and I've got nobody that even wants to talk to me in the panel here, that I may be the only one, not the only one, that has a little bit of a little lack of enthusiasm tonight. So with that, let me say hi to you guys that are here so far, and any of you guys that are here, I appreciate it, man, because it's just live stream city out there. I just looked and I noticed that even Paul Murray was having a live stream, and he had I saw it while I was shaving before this. I had my cell phone going, and I saw that he had John Cuppy on there, and so I don't know, and some of the big drone guys, especially this guy Stu over in Australia, this UAV Futures, he's been doing live streams almost every day, and I fully expect him to start a live stream right in the middle of mine. So we'll see what happens. And if it gets to the point where I have no interest, we'll just postpone all this goodness till the world gets back to work again, and I don't have to compete with all my friends that are having their live streams as well. So anyway, first one as usual in the chat room is Jody. Hey, Jody, how you doing? Jody's always first. And Paul says, Drone Bump says that he's probably be listening while he's driving. So if you're listening out there, Paul, hi, how are you? Pondon Moore also said that he can't make it, but just came on early to wish me a good stream, and thank you very much. Bill, Coast to Coast Drones, wonders if I've seen the Mavic Air 2 pics leaked today. Yeah, kinda. I mean, I went and looked at Drone DJ's website over here, and I see that says "Up Your Game," launch on April 27th. It says "Up Your Game," learn more. Okay, and upward facing sensors, big battery, and all this other good stuff. the bottom of it, it looks almost like a Mavic 2. But to be quite honest with you, I haven't been all that interested because we've all been through this same routine before with DJI. We did it with the Mavics. We did it with the Mini. We're doing it now with the Mavic Air 2, and we even have more rumors. He says the M300, the Mavic 3, the Mavic Air 2, just rumor city. And it's a good thing that DJI has all of us out here working for free, doing all of their promotion for them, because they don't have to spend a lot of money on advertising that way. They just strategically release or leak enough to pique the interest, and before you know it, as just happened about an hour ago, Bill the drone reviewer, my buddy, is got a live stream going at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday afternoon, talking all about this Mavic. I didn't watch it, but I did see that he was on, and I guess that I guess that's just we're just going to go through it again. Anybody plan on any ideas what the price of this thing's going to be yet? I don't know all that much about it. I'm going to let any of you guys that know more than me let me know, either in the chat or come on into the panel. Anyway, let me finish saying hi. I said hi to Bill, Coast to Coast Drones. Rick Halber, how you doing, buddy? I guess you're probably a flying ace by now, so I'm interested in hearing about that. Paul, Phantom Hodges Drone, good to see you, I think. He says, hello, everyone here, even old guy in a drone. So that was... I'm wearing a shirt that... my shirt says, I love sarcasm. It's like punching people in the face, but with words. So I'll just figure that you're like me, Paul, and you like sarcasm too. So another shirt my son bought me. Arizona Drone Dude, how you doing? Carpenter Rick, welcome, and let's keep on going down the line. Ray Kelly, hi Ray, how you doing, buddy? Tommaso Sullivan, always good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Craig, Mad Kiwi from New Zealand. How are you? How's everything doing down there? And who else we got? We got Thomas, Rick, Phantom, Rick, Carpenter Rick, Mad Kiwi, Ron Levesque. Hey Ron, how you doing? Good to see you. And Carlos is here, back from the sky, just chimed in. So people are starting to show up, and it's good. It's good to see that. So let me read some of this chat here, since I got nobody to talk to. Gary not available. Paul, I haven't seen Gary ever since 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had that little dust up in the chat room between him and Mel. But I've seen him in the chat, but I haven't seen him come into the live stream, and that's a shame. So Gary, if you're out there listening, come on in, buddy. Somebody asked me something. Ray Kelly dropped the news of the new Mavic, and I guess that's all everybody's talking about. He also, Rick said the governor of New York said the 15th of May. Holy cow, that's another month. That's another month, and I don't know about all this. I'm almost lost. I'm almost lost for words in describing my opinion of what's BS and what's reality, and all of the stuff that we're hearing these days about this Wuhan flu, the Wu flu. Mad Kiwi says, looks like they're going to be going to level 3 next week. Getting C-19 is dropped every day. 2 deaths for 4 days. No deaths for 4 days. Level 3. So I imagine that's a downgrade for you guys. I think. What were you up to? Level 5, I think, weren't you? Yeah, I think that the one of the few things that I've heard on the news lately that I don't think is BS is the theory that just how guilty China is of causing this whole mess, according to all the timelines I've looked at, and then of course there's the story that this thing actually, not that it was purposely put out there, but that it accidentally came from a lab in Wuhan, China. One of the either technicians or somebody caught it, gave it to his girlfriend, and the rest is history. And they knew about it, which is probably why they are rumored to have kind of disappeared any of the early people that got this, and especially that doctor that came out as a whistleblower early in China, and unfortunately the esteemed World Health Organization, everything that I hear about them out of Donald Trump's mouth, I believe, because I have as little respect for them as I do for the World Trade Organization, for the United Nations, for any of those global organizations that seem to have everybody's interests except those of us who are Americans at heart. And I believe that he's just absolutely spot on the money when he accuses all of these globalists of just picking our pockets clean and using us for the last, 30, 40, 50 years. I just, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just think there's too much evidence. And every time I watch a James Bond movie and I see the villains of organizations like Spectre, I envision the people that at the United Nations that come over here with diplomatic immunity, getting away with murder, having no respect for the law, big shots, elite group that they think they are. And I would be just as happy to see them turn that UN building into a 4-star luxury hotel and kick the whole bunch of them out. But that's just me. I'm an old guy. I've seen a lot, and I certainly have my opinions. Whenever I express my opinions,
Offer no purchase necessary. Offer valid at participating locations. Void where prohibited. No animals were harmed during the production of this soundboard. Subject to change without notice. Side effects include dry mouth, occasional pig snort or two, sore stomach, teary eyes, achy jaws, and whatever tingles well. Laughing heart.
I always offer up my disclaimer when I offer an opinion of mine, because it is my opinion based on what I hear and what I read and what I find believable or not. And what I find believable about this whole mess is that China did it to us. And what do you do about it? I mean, what do you do about it? Happy Lux is here from Germany. How you doing? Good to see you. And who else? And where is everybody tonight? Didn't my email go out? Nobody wants to come in and join me and have a conversation. On Sunday night still, on the workshop, I try to plan at least some kind of an activity or something to entertain with. But tonight is supposed to be all about conversation, and if this keeps up, I'm liable to get a complex. I don't see anybody has much trouble filling up a StreamYard's page full of people who want to chat, and I just chalk it up to the hour of the afternoon or evening, because so many people that this is early, and so many people that live west of here, I know they're not coming home from work because nobody's working. Nobody except Carlos. He's up there working, but he's home and he's here. So I haven't been doing any flying, and I've been doing a lot of building. There comes somebody. One of my regulars. Night Train. How you doing, Mike? Here for a few, her for a few, it says. Oh, that's good too. Anyway, maybe we try to get off the political stuff and the virus stuff and get back to the drone stuff. So here's Carlos.
Here's Carlos. Good evening, Mr. Mitch. How are you, sir?
I'm good, but I can hardly hear you. And I hear an echo. I hear a terrible echo.
Hold on.
What did you do? Yes.
Hello. No?
I hear myself echoing.
That's odd.
Let me mute your mic. Did my echo go away? Yes, it did.
Test 1 2 1 2.
You're not real loud at all.
I wonder why. Oh.
I don't know. You're usually right. Yeah, I mean, I hear myself back about 2 seconds later.
Everything's muted on my end. Let me
Any of you
try
guys
it.
hear an echo in the chat room there when I talk?
I'm gonna go out and see if I come back and it helps. I don't know.
Okay, try that. How you guys hear the audio there? Yeah, Night Train says yes. Tomas says yes. Above and Beyond Drone says yes. Yep, echoing. Okay, well, I don't think it's me because I've been talking for a while, and it didn't start till Carlos came in. So let him try to come back in, and we'll see what happens. Okay.
In Spain falls mainly on the plain. Any better? No.
Wait a minute.
Hello.
Yes,
Test.
no echo.
2.
No echo. Yeah, that's better. That's better now.
Cool.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. Okay, so if anybody hears any echoing now, I don't hear it, so I hope it's okay. Better says Above and Beyond Drones. Hey Jim.
Hello,
Jim, did I send you a link? If I did, I want you to get your butt in here tonight because there's some things that I'm starting to do that you're an expert on that I want to talk to you about. So see if you can join us. If you didn't get a link, let me know and I'll send you one. But I'm pretty sure that I got you on my list. Yes, sir. I as if beta flight and iNav and all that isn't complicated enough. I got a bug up my butt to learn ArduPilot.
What is that for?
Well, ArduPilot is a flight controller software, flight automation software that let me say something. Let me say it's gaming time 55. Welcome, my friend. In the chat, can we join? Well, once we get to know you, my friend, and I'm glad you're here. And maybe, are you a droner? Are you interested in drones and the technology and all that? And if you are, love to have you join our community. Tell us in the chat. Tell us a little bit about you, and maybe we'll go take a look at your channel. Anyway, I got Jim in here. Good to see you, Jim.
There you go.
What's up, Mitch?
How you doing?
I heard that echo. Yeah, it went away as soon as Carlos.
Yeah,
leaned.
Carlos had a strange connection going on there. I don't know what it was, but it got better. It got better the second time. Not only was there an echo, but your Carlos, your volume was so low I could hardly hear you in my headphones.
But it's better now.
Yes, right. Now it's like it always is. Yeah, it works. It's fine. So what I was saying, Jim, is I decided that I needed to learn ArduPilot. You know all about that, don't you?
Actually, I don't. ArduPilot.
Mitch, can you spell that? Because I'm not sure what I'm hearing. Ardu, like how?
Yeah, ArduPilot. ArduPilot. Yeah, okay. And the Ardu comes from the fact that in the early days, it ran on these Arduino computers, these little BlackBerry, Raspberry Pi deals and those kind of things. But ArduPilot is the software that most of the mapping, the larger heavy lift drones that do mapping and all of those other really sophisticated GPS-based flight modes are all running ArduPilot. And ArduPilot runs on hardware that is PixHawk. You heard of that, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pixhawk.
and PixHawk, and the company 3DR was the prime mover back in the day when they were building drones. That was their deal. They were the prime proponent of ArduPilot and all that software. And the ArduPilot software is probably the most, the biggest and best supported of the open source stuff, and was around long before ClaneFlight and Betaflight and iNav. And it's huge software, and there's so much to it that it's going to make learning Betaflight look like a Sunday school picnic. But the reason that I want to learn it is because I want to put an autopilot on that big helicopter that I got, which is a very expensive helicopter, that big orange thing. And that thing has a 6-foot rotor span and could easily chop heads off. And I really want to try to put something reliable in it. So I bought the new PixHawk 2.1.
The cube?
The orange cube. Now, the
Right.
orange cube is like 4 times more powerful than the black cube.
Right. It just came out, yeah.
Yeah, it did. So I bought one of those, and it came today, and I ordered the GPS unit for it, and the GPS unit on this thing is the name of it is HERE, HERE, HERE 2.
Profense CNC?
Yeah, Profi CNC. And the GPS unit even has all the sensors, redundant sensors. It has its own compass, it has its own barometer, it has its own IMU, it has all that stuff in the GPS unit. In the orange cube, it's got like 2 or 3 of everything. It's got redundant 3 IMUs, couple of compasses, barometers. It's got, and it's all shock mounted inside this little box, and it's even got a heater in it.
Can you go back a second and tell us what
Yes.
this cube thing is about? A cube? What is that?
Hang on a second. Hang on.
Okay.
Jim, tell them what it's about. I'll go get it so I can show it to you.
Or what does it do? Jim?
It's a flight control system that
Oh, okay.
works with the PixHawk, and the Prof CNC is who makes it. And there's a HERE, HERE, controller and all that. Basically, it's what the guys were using for years to sit there and autonomous program their drones and stuff
Okay.
to do these things. Or
Without
programming
having
their
actually
helicopters.
use a controller?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Let me go over to this thing, and I'll open it up and I'll show it to you. I didn't really.
So, Mitch, is
know if
the
I was-
cube the equivalent of a flight controller? Sort of?
It's the equivalent of a flight controller on three doses of steroids.
Yeah, because you don't need secondary programs to do mapping programming and all that. You can do that in the controller
Gotcha.
with the cube.
Yeah, it's really incredibly powerful, and they have a software called Mission Planner,
Which is done on your computer, yeah.
which is on your computer, and it's used to completely set everything up. But it's a whole different world. There's a lot of similarities in it to the way that you'd set up in Betaflight, but it's a whole different philosophy. And I'm looking forward to learning it. I noticed here that
I wondered why you didn't start with that stuff.
I didn't. You know what? You know who's probably the most knowledgeable of all of this community on that is Dan, Drone Worship. He's been a 3DR solo guy since the very beginning, and he's always, and I've always heard him talking about iNav and about the ArduPilot and Pixhawk and all that. But I never paid much attention to it. But basically, what DJI is doing with their, I wouldn't be surprised at all if DJI's drones aren't running on some kind of fork of the ArduPilot software, because virtually
that's been talked about, whether they robbed from that in the first place, because Wang came from MIT and all that, where they all started with this stuff.
Yeah, and I kind of, when I saw what ArduPilot was and how it works and what it does, I said that looks DJI like. And then when I saw there's this company that makes this here GPS makes a radio, a controller.
That's brand new, That here controller is new.
Yeah, the here was it called? The here link, is it called the here link?
Yeah.
Let me show you. Let me get that up on the.
If you want to see reviews of that stuff, you can go to Mad RC's channel.
Yeah, I must have watched 10 of his videos already.
Ian does a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that stuff's kind of all new to me, but this is what the here link deal looks like, and I'm seeing shades of smart controller there. It's got if you can see, it's got the 2 sticks. It's got the Android tablet with 1,000 nits built in. This is they call it an air unit, the unit that goes in the plane or the copter, and what guys are using this ArduPilot with this more sophisticated hardware for are these drones where they're carrying $50,000, $100,000 cameras.
Now understand, with this, you're not using any of your system. This is an $800 system Mitch is looking at. This is DJI Lightbridge and all that, all wrapped into one.
Yeah, but I'm not going to use this here link. I'm going to use I'm using my own radio for this, but I am using
the controller,
the Pixhawk controller, and they do also have a telemetry system that you can put in that will send back all of this telemetry data to you can do it on a tablet or a notebook and actually control every aspect of it. And that's kind of what DJI is doing, and they're bringing it back into their controllers. And I mean, I got to hand it to DJI. The stuff, Ron Levesque says, my old 3DR Solo's now a candy dish.
Ron's not a Solex fan?
Not a
3DR,
Solex fan.
3DR, according to Dan, sold out the open source programming to Solex or Pro CNC, and they're under the Solex now, and Dan says it's not completely open source now, so he's pretty mad.
Well, they claim it's open source. I mean, for me, the reason that I want to put it on these more expensive, big, dangerous models that I have is not really to do anything with them. I don't plan on, there's no aerial photography I can't do with a Mavic 2,
Right.
But as a hobbyist, as an RCer, this is the stuff that always fascinates me, is taking it to another level and automating something or
exactly. You could do mission planning on it.
Yeah, you can do anything and automatically, land, and you got return to home. You got all that safety stuff in it. And I just, even though we already can do all that stuff with the drones, this ArduPilot will work on virtually anything that flies or floats or drives around on the ground. They have rover stuff. They have
yeah, you get into Ross. You get into Ross and all that. But the good point here is Now Mitch is getting totally away from a DJI system that can shut him down at any time. This is the
Absolutely.
beauty of the original Pilot and the mission training.
Absolutely. And with all of this nonsense going on, especially if we decide to declare China persona non grata
Right.
because of this virus thing, which is not out of the realm of possibility. All the Mavic 2s and everything else in the world aren't going to be getting much support anymore unless some people start an open source organization to support all that hardware. I thought I saw Jody said that he had one. He did this in his helicopter. Did I miss that, Jody?
Yeah, he said it was for helos and stuff like that. Oh yeah, me too on my helo. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I didn't use, he asked why not iNav. iNav has no support for helicopters at this point, and I know that because I listened to Pavel Spakalski, who's, if you ever heard of him, Pavel Spakalski.
No,
He's Polish. I think he's Polish. He's one of the iNav devs, and he's probably on YouTube the most prolific source of information on iNav tutorials. And he has 2 live streams a week, kind of like Bardwell does, where he takes questions. And I went onto his live stream and asked him, I said, does iNav have heli support? Because I couldn't find it. Because with heli support, you need all the collective stuff, the throttle mixing, all the kind of stuff you don't need in a quad or an
Mitch,
airplane.
you know that here stuff, the reason I was interested in it is right there. You see those? Because if they come down, well, all right. The reason
big-
is
yeah.
I wanted to replace the transmission systems in those with this.
And you could rip all the guts out of that big drone and replace it with a Pixhawk controller.
Yep.
And then you have a lot more flexibility. They have LiDAR modules for it. They have, and the way it's growing and the capability is, I think you'll find that all of these proposed delivery drones and all of these big commercial drones are all going to be running ArduPilot. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't they? So I started to get interested in this a couple months ago, and I said, well, what do I need it for? I got iNav for my quads and all that. And then I decided to bring this helicopter out of mothballs, and I said, well, that would be interesting. So let me show you this little Pixhawk thing and show you what you get. And it's more expensive than the normal flight controller that you use on a drone. Now there are regular flight controllers. There's not as many as Betaflight, but there are flight controllers that you can buy for $30 that they have targets, the ArduPilot target. All the Maytech stuff will run ArduPilot, and the Maytech wing controllers that I use in my flying wing and a twin engine thing, you can put ArduPilot on that. And if all that stuff works out, I'm probably going to give up on iNav. I like iNav, but the problem is that iNav is in a phase of its development, and really a spurt phase of its development now, where the changes happen very often. They keep improving it. They're trying to get it to catch. They're trying to get it to catch up with Betaflight. So once this new group of devs started to get in it, but the problem is they keep coming out with new versions all the time, and they change things, and it's tough to keep up with all the changes and what the work you have to go through to update things. And the ArduPilot is much more seasoned and settled in at this point. They don't make drastic changes to it anymore. They add features to it, but it doesn't require you to reprogram your whole entire aircraft every time they decide they want to come up with a new version. Betaflight does that too, but it's not quite as bad. Ron says that I'll do real well with that system. I hope so. in some respects, it's fair. It looks like it's fairly straightforward with the mission planner to program it. Then they've got software, another software called as a Q ground station or something like that. I think it's Q ground station.
Yes.
That you can run instead of the mission planner, and it runs on an Android tablet. And I've seen some videos of guys doing long range flights using Ardu pilot software, and they're doing them from a notebook.
There's a guy, Nikolai, from Russia. He does them all the time. Have you ever seen Drone and Sundry on Tuesday nights?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, Gary Mortimer runs that from South Africa, and those guys are SUS News and all that. They play with these all the time, and he's got that Big Bertha plane that he programs with ArduPilot.
I think I knew you'd know something about this, Jim. That's why I asked you to come in. You know more than you think. You know about it. You may not have used it, but you know what it is. That's for sure. And like I said,
does this take coding, sort of?
Think of it as a DJI system. Just get rid of the DJI. Okay, what you're looking at, what Mitch has there, is a controller. The two parts there go on the aircraft. Okay, so that's your radio control system, send light bridge signal being sent back to you. Okay, and it's all controllable through the cube. And then you put Mission Planner on your computer, which is actually a map with the mission controls on the left-hand side. And this was all before DJI ever came with the fly it.
Oh, now you can also you can also put cameras in, and you can put any kind of transmission system for the cameras you want, or telemetry system. You can build it out any way you want.
And control landing.
You can put an FPV camera in it and a video transmitter, fly it through goggles. So it's very modular, and I think very very powerful. And I like you say, Jim, I looked at it as a way of getting DJI out of my life if I could, and whether that's going to happen voluntarily or our government's going to forbid importing any of their products. In fact, this right here. Let me make myself bigger and bring in Art Carlson without a fanfare. Hey, Art.
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Was just practicing on the piano a little while ago.
Okay, good. Virtual practice.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the Cube. It comes in this nice, packaging is everything these days, right?
Yeah.
So, you got it, so the packaging is, I have to give it one of these hand flourishes, this is the way it comes. It actually has instructions that actually tell you something. I mean, they don't tell you how to program it, but they do give you some useful information. Now look at this, man. Tell me that this isn't. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is a velvet-like foam, velvet-covered foam around the cube. See the cube, the orange cube, and how cool is that? And this is the flight controller here. This and that's the orange cube. You can put any different cube on the base, and they also make a base that's a lot smaller called a mini. They call it a carrier. But this is the same size as a standard like 35 by 35 flight controller. So, but it has everything plugs into it. There's no soldering whatsoever, and this does not control. But this does not control motors or anything. All the motor stuff and the ESCs are all separate from this. This is basically just the autopilot, the flight controller that the receiver plugs in. If you have servos, they all plug in on the edge here. If you can see, there's 14 or so different rails for servos, and your receiver would plug in here. It has inputs for 2 GPS modules, two telemetry modules. It even supports the CAN bus, which is the latest and greatest automation thing. And this little one, Jim, you're going to get a kick out of this, has ADS-B built into it.
Funny, because if they go through a remote ID, they're banning ADS-B for drones.
But this is just an input. This is not an output. This just allows you to see on your telemetry display where the airplanes are. But it doesn't tell anybody where you are. You would have to put an ADS-B transmitter in it. Yeah. But it does have the receiver for it built in. And that's why this is the newest version of it with this little antenna sticking up here. So that's it. And that's the size of it. It's not real big. You see it sitting in my hand here. And I think it's going to be fun. Then they give you...
This is like going backwards from DJI. Once you've had your DJI, now you want to get rid of DJI's restrictions, you go this route.
But I believe that like where the DJI drones have 2 IMUs for redundancy, this thing's got 3 built in and another one in the GPS module. So you've got 4 IMUs. And the whole idea that got me to kind of delve into this platform was the reliability of it. The fact that it's even got a built-in heater in here, so it keeps the temperature constant on all of the delicate stuff that's inside. It's really an amazing piece of technology when you look at the size they've managed to shrink all this down to now. And this whole thing, it comes with a humongous bag full of every kind of adapter cable and connector and everything you would need to plug in. It comes with this is the power brick that you put your XT60 battery through, and it provides power to this, and it monitors current flow and everything through the connector, so it gives you all that data. It comes with a little bus for the CAN bus if you're using any of the sensors that network through the CAN bus, and that could be GPS sensors, LiDARs. You can put redundant GPSs on this thing. And then they give you a bunch of sticky foam and stuff to stick it down. And this whole thing was $250, which isn't bad, really, when you think about it.
Mitch, I have a question. You said there's no soldering and everything plugs in. How do you know to buy what that it plugs in? Does that make sense? Like, is it proprietary plugs, or are these plugs special sizes when you buy something?
They give you the cables to adapt with the right plugs on them.
Okay.
To adapt to about anything, I would imagine. I'm not that far into it yet to find out, but
it's used in everything. Everything.
Yeah,
from
they're pretty
tractors
standard.
to underwater ROVs to Heelys and all that. This is just a system that you have to work a little bit at, right? I mean, because we're used to DJI is what we call ready to fly and all that. This is, let's say, where DJI came from.
Gotcha. Hello, Rick Halber.
If you check out that
Rick
mission
Halber, how
planner
you doing,
site,
buddy?
Carlos, you'll fall in love with it.
Yeah, this here is the
wait, let me
Bill,
interrupt you
Metro
real
Drones.
quick.
Thank you, Bill.
just
Thank you very
gonna-
much,
yeah.
my friend. Thank
Never
you very
mind.
much, Bill, for the super chat. I appreciate that. This is the mission planner. This is the mission planner right here, and it has, all of these different the setup screens to install the different hardware setup things. I mean, it's kind of like Betaflight in that respect. You have the equivalent of a CLI and a full parameter list. I don't know what I'm doing here. Load from file. I don't have all the data loaded in it yet because I just put this on here, but this definitely has when you're flying using the ArduPilot system, you can run this software on a notebook or a laptop and actually have a real time control and view of everything that's happening in your aircraft, including this heads-up display looking thing up here.
And point and click waypoint missions and all that.
Yeah. You can say, okay, I want to fly to this point on the map and get everything going, and then you have all this other information here that you can access right in the middle of a flight. I mean, it's fabulous control. It's like flying a full-size aircraft, and I think that the gadget freak that I am, I'm going to have a ball with it.
But don't be afraid of all that either.
Who,
All
me?
those controls. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to use all of them, you know?
Yeah, well, even the DJI, if you go deep into all the stuff you have in there, automated stuff, most people don't use 99% of it. You know,
Right,
You just
right.
take it off, fly it around, and land it. But I think it's going to be fun. So I finally figured out, and I've heard Dan, Drone Worship. I've heard him making fun of DJI all this time, saying, "What do we need that for? We already got it with this." And he's been a 3DR fan. He's kept that stuff going, and of course they haven't been around for a while, so keeping their stuff going is like keeping an old car running. But the software and the hardware has gone another step further.
Here's the point. You're no longer, I mean, with DJI, you're strapped in with their batteries and all that. Well, if you knew ArduPilot and Mission Planner and all that, you would have never been tied into DJI batteries in the first place.
No,
But
probably
we
not.
all wanted to throw the money at it and go and fly.
Yeah, but I think that if you want to, political climates the way they are and everything, the less and yet so much of this stuff is still made in China. The hardware and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It still comes from China. Although they do make a blue cube. Did you know that, Jim?
No, that I didn't know.
They make a blue cube that costs twice as much, and it's
Made in America.
Made in America.
Okay.
And it's for all of those companies that want to use this system in their drones and aren't allowed to have any connection to China. So they're making some of them here. Of course, it costs them more to make here, but it is available that
And
way.
why is that? If you've ever seen wave flow soldering, a printed circuit board is made in 10 seconds.
I know, and we
I
can
don't know
have the
why it's more expensive in America.
we can have the machines here just as easily.
Yeah.
But we let them get a hold of that stuff. Bill from Metro Drone says, "What am I putting that in?" I'm going to put it in that 6-foot rotor span Taser 800 electric helicopter. That orange, the one that's made out of orange. It's not carbon fiber, but it's like it material, Bill. And
You know, Mitch, I got guys down at the flying field out where we were, you and I were, when there was
the
nobody
compound.
there, okay? There's a club that flies out there on Saturday mornings, and there's a couple of guys with helicopters. But when I asked them if they were using ArduPilot, they didn't know what the heck they were using.
No, they're just flying line of sight. No flight controller whatsoever. Just a radio and servos. I've never flown a helicopter with an autopilot.
Really? With the gas helicopters?
Yeah, you're just flying it. You're just controlling it. You have no stabilization, no nothing, like flying an acro quad.
Okay.
You bet
Okay.
you have to stay. You have no stabilization, no GPS things, no auto leveling, no nothing. You got like flying an acro quad.
Yeah, he
You
looked at
move
me
this-
like I was on another planet. He didn't
No.
know what I was talking about.
very rarely. And back when I was flying, when I was going to use this for aerial photography, I wanted to put an autopilot of some kind on it. But any decent, this is 15 years ago or more, back then, any autopilot that would have done wouldn't even have done anything close to what this Pixar, but at least would have still stabilized it and given you that kind of control, was $20,000-$30,000. They were military grade
Yeah.
avionics level gadgets. I mean, it was ridiculous, and there was no way you could afford to do that. Now there was a company called Rev Electric, which came up with a leveling system for a helicopter that used optical sensors and tried to lock onto the horizon, and you had these sensors all around. It never worked that well. I still have one in a box out there. Rick, was
The
that
age
you, Rick?
of smartphones
Yeah.
miniaturized everything.
Yeah, my
I mean,
phone.
oh, that's okay. I just thought maybe
Hey,
there
Rick,
was a
have you
woman.
flown-
I had a woman here I didn't know about. You know?
Have you flown your Tinyhawk, Rick?
Yeah, a couple times.
And
In the goggles
Keeping it
or
up?
line of sight?
Just line of sight right now.
Good.
keeping
good.
it up?
Did you guys
Yeah,
get the
I
cable
try to
thing?
do a couple packs a day at least.
Right.
Mitch, did you
Sorry.
and Rick get the cables fixed up?
Yeah, he figured out what it was. It was
Yeah.
bad cable. It's a bad USB cable. After all of that drill, yeah.
How
the
did
cable-
how do
the
you
cable-
find that out? How did you find that out?
Trial
Got
and
some
have
error.
new
good ones.
cables.
I
Yeah,
actually
well-
bought new cables.
He went and bought new
Okay.
cables.
So it was like Carlos said, trial and error.
Yeah.
He must have went nuts going through.
Well, he and
all
I
that.
both went nuts. We were on the phone for hours trying to get that thing to work.
The cables weren't actually bad. They weren't data cables. They were
Right.
power cables.
Although I'm surprised the one that came with the DJI drone wouldn't be a data cable.
Yeah, I went and opened that up, took it out. I tried at least 8 different cables. I just had a lot of bad luck.
Gotcha.
That's hard to believe. I mean, unless you're
Yeah.
awful hard on cables, Rick, maybe you destroy cables you don't even know it.
I've got hundreds of them here. I think I just like them. So when I go through Amazon, I'll get a couple more cables.
Wow.
There you go. Well, I was never able to get my drone to work with the goggles.
Because what were you experiencing?
I went through all the frequencies and everything. Every time I would take off the drone would start up, and as soon as it took off, no picture. Just snow. But as soon as I disarmed it, hey, I had a clear picture.
That's odd.
I don't understand that.
I
I don't get that. I
You've never dropped it in water, right, Art?
no.
And Mitch, that
Yeah.
system the system you were just showing, would that work on your fixed airplane that you did? That you built?
The fixed wing?
Yeah, you just built that one about, I don't know, 4 months ago.
the twin engine one.
Yeah. Would that work on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, that would work on that. But the flight controller that I used in that airplane, the Maytech 765 wing that I'm running INAV on, the ArduPilot will run on that flight controller too. So
But you could do long range with that plane.
well, I could do probably no longer a range than I can do with the way I got set it up right now, because I do have a long range radio in it, which I don't have. And I have certain telemetry, but nothing as fancy as what this ArduPilot gives you.
Right.
It's overkill for me. It really
Fun
is.
to-
They
fun
have,
to try and play with.
yeah, and it's not that expensive.
No.
You know, and the GPS module is close to $100 though. The new one, the Here 2, the one that has all because what it has is basically a flight controller of its own built into the GPS unit. So you get a remote compass out there. You can get another IMU, another barometer, and well, we'll see. I ordered that. I finally found one. I couldn't find it anywhere. I found it. There's a company in Georgia that had them in stock, so I ordered one today. It shipped. It ought to come 2 or 3 days, I guess. So Sunday I'll probably have that. Don't all talk at once.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to go on. I wasn't sure.
No, that's okay. So Carlos, I see you've been flying. You posted a couple of videos. Glad
Yeah.
some of us are getting out there and flying.
little bit of air. It's, I don't know. The last few days, I just haven't been into it. I think more up here than anything. All this nonsense is getting to me a little bit.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
overall,
it's kind of getting to me too. I talked a little bit about that when I first came on.
I heard.
Yeah.
Henry-
I just got a text from my boss. Looks like I got one more week off.
Any of you guys get your money yet?
Yeah, I got mine yesterday.
I didn't get mine yet. I guess us retired people are going to get get ours after all you working people.
End of the
Get
list.
yours.
I think so.
Yeah, but I still work and I still pay taxes. I haven't done my 2019 taxes yet because they gave me a 3-month extension, but I did file my 2018, but I don't have, since, I file as a self-employed, I don't have any kind of refunds coming, so they didn't have, with my taxes, any direct deposit information because I had no reason to get money back from them.
Not even
However,
2017?
I didn't file any
Okay.
taxes up until 2018 was the first time I actually had to file taxes. I really wasn't working much at all. I was just living on had the Social Security coming every month, and that's if that's all you have coming in, you don't have to file taxes.
Right.
But then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
my daughter decided that she needed me to do all her graphics work, and bingo, I'm working again. So.
Cool.
But with my Social Security, of course, they do have my direct deposit. So they got this website now that
You see what
BMAX
wrote?
BMAX Aerial Adventures. How you doing, my friend?
I think
Aerial
his wife got
Visuals.
the,
BMAX Aerial Visuals. Hey, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming in. And
His wife got to the refund before him.
let me give you a wrench. Let me give you a
That's
let me
what I'm
give you
worried
a wrench.
about.
Bill got $220. Well, my daughter got hers, and it was way short of what they expected. But they make money, and that's it. When your income is over a certain amount, you're not going to get it. That's.
Yep.
But me, I'm nowhere near making $100,000 a year, so or 75 or whatever it is. I'll get it, but I'll get it when they get around to giving it to the Social Security people. But they do have the IRS does have a website. It says "Get My Payment." Okay.
Yeah.
So I go on the IRS website to find out. They're going to track because they know everything, the government, and they got a website. So I go on the website, and the first thing it says is, "Please wait," and 3 flashing things are sitting there going like this because we're really busy. When your turn comes up, So I wait about 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, there's a box comes up that says that I agree on everything under the sun. So I click, yeah, I agree. Then it came up with a form. I want my name, my Social Security number first, my name, my street address, and my date of birth. Okay. Clicked it. I'm waiting. I wait. A screen comes up and says, "We're unable to help you at this time. Try again later." So I did that 5 or 10 times over the past 2 days and got the same result every time. So either I'm a non-entity according to our government. They weren't able to find me, but I doubt that was the case.
I
Since
got
get
the
a check
same
from-
thing.
Did you get the
I got
same
it.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
can you imagine? They did this, and then they give you a phone number. Can you imagine trying to call that phone number and
man.
actually talk to a human being?
My
Right.
son and his girlfriend in Florida, and they're having issues. She's having issues collecting unemployment. She says she has to do it by paper now. At
Yeah,
this
the
point.
website has been so bad down here that you just
Yeah,
can't.
I found
you
out
just
her,
can't.
her parents are in Melbourne too.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. They're my neighbors.
Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, small world.
What does it say? DJI and the country of China wants our
Once our
stimulus.
stimulus dollars.
Countries that don't have any kind of stimulus package, they will make the end of April and early May look like a Continuous Black Friday.
Black Friday sale. Yeah, I have a funny feeling you're right, Ron. When we finally do get back to work, if you ever wanted to buy a new car, now is going to be the time.
Yeah.
If you
Why
ever
would you say
ever
that?
wanted to, if you ever wanted to book a cruise or book a vacation,
That yes.
now is going to be coming up is going to be the time. Can you imagine these car dealers? They're trying so hard to sell cars, but they're trying to sell them online. They're advertising. You don't have to come in. Call us online. Yeah, I'm going to buy a car online. Right.
Actually,
I'm
here
gonna
in
go
New
in
York,
there.
they're doing one-on-one appointments now. You can call it and schedule an appointment. One
Yeah.
person. That's it.
They're not doing any business compared to
No, not like
what's
before.
so they're going to have a backlog of cars, and that's going to be the time to buy a car when
I hope you're right.
when things come back. Interest rates are incredibly low right now, and they're going to
Well, they're
stay
giving
low
it-
for a while. Yeah, so I and the incentives are going to be crazy. So
They
I
have
think
84
I
months
think,
of financing on some Chevys. That's crazy. What is that? 7 years? Imagine.
Did you see what BMAC said? He says, Ron Levesque, yeah, sure seems odd. We get a little extra money, and all of a sudden DJI comes out with a decent drone for the first time in almost 2 years.
What is their new drone?
No conspiracy theory
Mavic
here.
Air 2.
Mavic Air 2.
Is it still going to be Wi-Fi, the two?
No, I don't think so. I
okay.
don't know. I haven't heard that much
I
about it.
think it's going to be OcuSync, and I just
That'd be much better.
saw that it's going to have a 48 megapixel camera.
Ooh.
Yeah, sounds like it's gonna be better than the Mavic 2.
And it's going to have a 68 kilometer an hour speed.
What is that?
It's about 40. That's
MPH?
about 40 miles an hour. 40
Yeah.
plus miles an hour. Yeah.
I
Well,
think with
you're
green
right,
behind my
BMAC.
Mavic Air- Go ahead.
The specs do. How much is it going to cost?
I would imagine it'd be about the same as the old one.
Yeah, I
About
think
the-
that's what I heard.
$8.99 or $9.99?
950. Yeah.
$9.50. Wow.
I think I got the original
heard
999 with
there
the extra batteries.
What'd you say, Rick?
I heard there was two different models.
Oh, of course there are.
Yeah, we were looking that up. We were trying to look that up because they had two
Yeah.
different filings with the FCC.
Bill was talking about it earlier too.
Ron says a zoom lens. BMAC says 1K, about $1,000. I
Well,
can
the
tell
Mavic
you
Air
that
was $999. Yeah.
the one thing that I don't need in my life at this point, Jim,
On
and all
camera.
you guys, is another DJI Mavic drone. So I'm going to pass. I passed on the Mini, and I'm going to pass on this one.
Oh,
You
I have
actually
no
passed
need
on the
for me.
Sky deal too.
Yeah, I passed on the Skydio. I had a reservation in on it. I would have
Yeah.
been one of the first to get it too, but I let it go. I'm glad I did. I after looking at all the reviews, I have no use for it.
No.
No use whatsoever. You know, on those times when I get out on my skateboard,
Yeah,
I'll
'cause I
I'll
do
live
that
without
so
it.
often.
Yeah, I'll live without it. You know what? I'll tell you, the only thing, only reason I thought it'd be fun would be to follow me on my motorcycle, which I hardly ride anymore anyway. We lost Carlos. Where'd Carlos go?
Yeah, you had to go.
Oh, he was waving. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carlos. Ron also dropped the Skydio. I think that was a smart move. I think
Yeah.
I think it was. But
Well, Sean
so what I'm going to
also
do?
loves it.
If you're
Yeah,
out
but
active
Sean
and
Oz
all
is
that,
Sean Oz. You know, if I was Sean Oz and I was snowboarding in the mountains and all
Yeah.
that crap, I'd probably want one too.
Yeah.
Anyway, in 3 weeks, guys, I'm going to have a birthday party. A birthday party live stream on May the 7th. I don't know what day of the week that is, but whatever it is, I'm going to have
Yeah,
a live stream birthday party.
okay. Cool.
73.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Boy,
73.
Yeah. PT 73.
you don't feel like
70?
73, do you?
No, I don't. I really don't. But still, the numbers don't lie. I was born in 1947.
Oh. The beginning of
19
the baby boom.
Yeah, I was a late baby boomer.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's interesting because my father was not in World War II. My dad was too young for World War One, and
Yep.
too old for World War II. My dad was born in 1901.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because my dad was born in 1901, and it dawned on me a couple of years ago that there's not a soul on the planet Earth alive that was born in 1901.
Yeah. Mhm.
Not unless you're 119 years old.
No.
Yeah.
And that was one generation ago for me. That was my father.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's and my mom was born in 1918, so she was like 18 years younger than my dad. And even my mom, had she lived, she had cancer, but had she lived, would be 102 now.
Wow.
But when all this flu stuff came out, and they're talking about the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, I'm saying,
Yep.
wow, that's when my mom was born. Yeah.
Yep.
So time flies. Ron Levesque says, BMAC says that rates me as an old guy. Yeah, I think so. I'm still looking for somebody in our community that's older than me, and I don't think I found them yet.
Yeah.
I can't be the oldest guy of anybody that has ever touched a drone.
Right.
Now, I did hear somebody said that there was a 80-year-old guy at his RC club that flew drones, but
There's a couple
Anyway.
on YouTube that I watch. I can't remember his name now. There was two different guys. They advertise the oldest, being the oldest.
okay. Well, I'll let him have it. I'm happy
Yeah,
to let him have it.
he's got
I'm
a great
thrilled.
channel though.
Mhm.
BMAC says Ken Heron looks older than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got that hair, man.
Yeah.
And I don't have a tattoo on my body, so I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Certainly can't keep up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Now my dad would have been 100 this year.
100. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad would have been 119. God. Yeah, he was 48 when I was born.
Wow.
He waited. Yeah, well, he came over from Russia as a 10-year-old. Went through Ellis Island and did all that stuff.
Right.
So he kind of got a later start in this country. And he was so busy getting, he became a pharmacist, so getting his degrees, and
Right.
at that time that they had to work and support the family. It wasn't until he got to into his 40s that he was in a position in life financially and stability wise to even think about marrying.
Right.
So, and I think it's a good thing. I think that most of us married way too young. I know that I did. My kids, on the other hand, waited till they were in their early 30s to get married. And I think that was smart.
Well, I'm 60 and I haven't been married.
Well, you're smarter than all of us then.
Well, I've been engaged twice, and yeah.
You'll get one of these days, Art. Mark Lillo comes in, says they bought his dad an EMAX Tinyhawk last summer. He's 82. That's cool, Mark.
Oh, awesome.
And is he flying it? Is he ripping? Is he ripping it? We'll see. We'll see. So you guys can expect to see some, I guess, Arju pilot stuff coming up here, if you're interested. I'm not going to make any. I don't want to make tutorials or any of that stuff on it.
Yeah.
I want to just enjoy doing it,
Yeah.
But I'll show you, what I'm doing as I do it, and I want to put it. I want to put it in an airplane. I think not the. I don't think I'm going to put this. I'm going to play with this on the bench for a while first, to really get used to the Arju plane. But I don't want to put it in a craft yet. But what I am going to do is I got a Maytech 411 wing controller. It's an F4 controller, and it has any of the Maytech controllers will run the Arju Pilot software. And once you've got the software loaded on a flight controller, it appears just like any flight controller. In other words, it's the same thing with Betaflight. Once you put Betaflight on a controller, it doesn't matter what kind of controller it's on. The features that it has available are going to be there if the controller has the hardware. And this Maytech 411 wing has all the hardware that you need for a fixed wing airplane. So I think my first ArduPilot experience is going to be the simplest, and that's going to be on an airplane. The helicopter is a little more complicated, so I'm going to put it on a. I've got a flying wing that I haven't built yet, so I think I'm going to build it up, put the 411 in there, install the ArduPilot, learn how to program it, learn the ins and outs of it, and fly it, and then I'll put it on this big dollar helicopter. I'm not so worried about the money. I'm worried about it killing me. Coming back and chopping my head off. I mean, these big helicopters, when you stand near them, you can feel the power just from the air and the sound of them. You can just feel the power in those things, and they are.
Do you have a gas one or an electric one?
It's electric.
Okay.
It's electric, and it runs. It has a Jim. It has 150 amp ESC on it.
Shit.
It runs. It has a motor that's like this big around. It runs on 12S. Okay, 48 volts. Two 5,000 milliamp.
You see the new
6
20,000 amp batteries out now?
Oh, they got them, yeah. And there are guys that are building these big mapping planes with 6 foot, 7 foot wingspan twin motors that are putting these 10, 15 amp hour, 20 amp hour batteries in them. And they fly for hours, and they'll carry the weight of them. They weigh like a gold brick, and they'll fly for an hour and a half on those big batteries. And some of these guys who do this long range stuff, which of course is illegal as hell, since you're not allowed to fly any UAV out of line of sight. When these guys are talking about flying 30 miles away, they got the big ground. They got the ground stations set up. In fact, ArduPilot software will control a ground station as well. So a ground station has tracking, okay, and the tracking knows the GPS position of whatever you're following, and it knows where it is. So it just like those NASA things that follow the thing across the sky. These antennas mount on a big tripod, Jim, and as you fly by, you'll see them following the airplane by, and to capture the telemetry and the video signal. And these guys with these ground stations with big antennas on them get out 20, 30 miles with these things.
Wow.
DJI was going to come out with that Tractana, but they never did. But it's still out. It's made by another company. It just It's on a tripod, and it follows the signal.
Yeah, and a lot of guys in FPV, long range FPV, are using them. But with the neat thing about the ArduPilot software is the software has the provisions and the telemetry information necessary to drive that antenna. And the antenna system's plugged into your ground station, notebook, or whatever you're using. And it actually knows it knows the GPS location of whatever it is that you're following, and it constantly plots where it needs to point in the sky, elevation wise and everything. And you get a big dish antenna like that and lock onto one of those signals. There's no telling how far out you can go. You could probably go out 100 miles with the stupid thing if you had a battery big enough to keep the airplane flying. It's tremendous technology for hobbyists.
The one I saw claims 20 kilometers, so whatever that is in miles.
Yeah, 20 miles round trip, Ron said. Old Parrot Disco. Guys are running them long distance. Yeah, they're using cell phone.
Dustin goes out quite a ways.
Yeah, he does, and he was the first video I saw that used the cellular system to transmit and receive through. Basically, with that system, anywhere there's cell coverage, you could keep flying. Just like if you're live streaming, for example, from your cell phone, you go anywhere. As long as you're connected to the cellular network, you've got a data feed. I think latency might be a little bit of a problem, and you're not going to be wanting to do acro stuff at that distance. But for just flying an airplane, most of the flying that they do, fly by wire, they don't even use the sticks to fly the airplane. They use the computer and tell it when to change altitude or change course or heading, or have a pre-programmed set of waypoints that it's flying. So, that's they're doing it right now over the 4G network. When the 5G thing is out, they'll be able to do that with I imagine with almost no latency, because the data rates will be so fast, the bandwidth is so wide. Be interesting to see. Of course, it's all illegal. Only the military is allowed to have a pilot here sitting in a bunker somewhere flying a drone halfway around the world with a couple of missiles on it. I'd like to do that. In fact, that'd be a fun thing to build. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that on YouTube, about building remote control things like that. I would love the opportunity. In fact, it wasn't, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I knew a guy who was doing that in Afghanistan, was flying remote controlling drones, but he was stationed in Afghanistan, a contract worker. And they were looking for people that could fly like that. But I said, I'm too old for that. But if I was younger, I probably would have done that. The pay was incredible. They made tons of money, these guys, flying these, you go over there for 6-8 months or a year, give up that much of your life, you make a ton. They come back. I don't know exactly, but I imagine it's $250,000 or more that they get paid for that period of time, considering it as a hazardous risk of getting blown up at the same time. But I think that would be fun, and I think it's something that I could probably certainly do, being a pilot and a remote pilot at the same time.
Yep.
So, what else is new?
I see we just lost Brian Dennehy.
Yeah.
I heard that.
He was
Yeah, I heard
81.
that. He was young too. See, at my age, 81 is not old anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want 81 to be old.
He's always been a big guy, though.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys will pardon my lozenge here. It's not a cold or anything. My voice
Oh.
goes when I talk a lot.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
get off here next.
What's that?
I'm gonna get off here now.
Oh, well, good to see you, Rick.
Good to see
Yeah,
you.
I just wanted to drop in. Thank you again for last week, getting me all set up here. I just got to get out and practice now here.
Yeah, practice in the house with the thing. Keep practicing, and then we'll get you in the goggles flying.
Yeah. I want to get the jumper going too, because
Okay.
I rather learn with the controller that I'm going to be flying with.
Probably be a little more precise than the controller that comes with it. Well,
But I
good
got to
deal. All right.
get. I need to keep it up in the air for a while.
Yeah.
You need to keep it up for a while, huh, Rick?
Been a long time.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. See you Sunday.
Yeah.
Take care. See you later, Jim.
Thanks for coming in.
Take care. Everybody in the chat, take care.
All right. Take care, Rick.
Take care, Rick.
Okay, so here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. How old was Brian? 81.
81. Yep.
81 years old. Yeah. Hadn't seen him in anything for a long time.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. I haven't seen him in anything. But, those comedy writers from the 50s and 60s, they're still around. Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks is 97.
Mel Brooks is a phenomenon.
Yeah.
That guy.
And
He,
there was another one that was part of that group. He's in his 90s as well. Van Dyke, I think, is in his 90s.
is he still living?
Yeah, he's still around. His brother Jerry passed away a couple
Oh, I
years.
remember. Yeah, I remember Jerry too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that. And you know who I've always liked is Alan Arkin. I
Yeah.
like him too.
Yeah.
He's not quite as old as Carl Reiner.
He's
Yeah.
still got a
Carl
TV
Reiner.
show, Alan Arkin.
Does
He's
he?
on
What-
yeah, he's on with what's his name on Netflix. They got a show.
Oh, okay.
He's more active now than I've ever seen him before.
Hmm.
he's been in a lot of stuff.
And Anne Margaret is still kicking.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's right.
She
Oh,
don't look that bad either.
Well, plastic surgery is amazing. You know?
You know, women of our age,
Yeah.
I'll shut my mouth. But,
Yeah.
Tommy Lee
Yeah, you
Jones.
gotta be
he's
careful what you
80.
say.
yeah.
He's in his 80s. Yeah. Harrison Ford, he's got to be close to 80.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah.
Dreyfus always looked old.
Yeah.
Even in that movie that started it all for them.
Oh, American Graffiti.
Yes, American Graffiti.
Yeah. And
Follow that girl in the car. Yeah, yeah. So many actors came out of that movie. Even
Yeah.
Ron Howard was in that.
Ron Howard, Harrison Ford. That was before Star Wars.
Yeah, way before Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Hmm. What's her name? She was in that sitcom.
Susan something, or she used to
Yeah.
do those dance videos.
Yeah, no, Suzanne Summers. I think.
Suzanne Summers. That's it.
Yeah, she might have been in that one.
She was the girl in the white T-Bird
Right.
that Dreyfus was wanting to catch up with.
Oh, I was thinking of Mackenzie Phillips. She was in it.
Oh, she
Yeah,
was in.
she was a little kid.
Yep. Hmm.
What was that show she was in where she played one of the daughters?
Oh,
Butch
yeah.
Company?
One Day at a Time.
One day at a time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Valerie Bertinelli.
Yeah. What was her mother's name in that?
Oh, God. And she just recently passed away, I believe.
Did she really?
Yeah. Okay. One Day at a Time. Barbara somebody. One Day at
Gary's here. Hey, Gary, how you doing? Brand Aerials. How are you? Good to see you.
Well, Suzanne Summers, she did that Three's Company.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So now we're talking about old TV shows.
Yep, that's right.
All because of Brian Dennehy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. So we've talked about flight controllers, and I got this.
Bonnie Franklin.
I got this drone here, Bonnie Franklin. Yeah,
Yep.
with this is my Marmot, and it's got the DJI system in it, but it's the only drone I have that has a flight controller that is on the list for ArduPilot. Okay. And it doesn't have the GPS module. Well, it does have a GPS, but it doesn't have the one with the compass.
Uh-huh.
But it has the barometer and all that stuff in it. It's a F7.
Right.
It's a Holybro Kakute F7. And I was thinking
You were.
that I did. Every once in a while, I said to myself, maybe I should take this and actually try as a first ArduPilot shot, put it on this drone, see what happens. So I think I may do that. I think I may. That. And a nice thing, about doing that is this is running beta flight right now, so I hook the thing up to the computer. I say go into the CLI command line interface and do a dump of all the data, and then I can flash it with the new firmware and play around, and then I can flash it back if I want with the version of Betaflight that it had on it, restore all the data that I saved, and I'm right back where I am now. So that makes, it's so easy to do that it makes it fun to experiment with this stuff. I already tried iNav on this thing, but for some reason, I don't know why I didn't want to fool with it. I couldn't get it to ARM. I must have had something set wrong, but I just got tired of fooling with it, so because I wanted to fly it. So I put Betaflight back on it. But we'll see. Maybe I can get this thing actually flying, Jim, with ArduPilot. See, of course, I really wouldn't notice much difference because I'm flying it with a transmitter, not a ground station. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it would still have all the return to home and auto land and all that other functionality. I like those 7-inch iNav quads that I built, the Tyro 129s. You've seen the video of them auto landing? It's the coolest damn thing. Like a
Yeah, I
Mavic.
did actually out at the park.
Just comes right down, lands right there, which is not something you normally see a Betaflight or a race quad do. Is automatically return to home and land. And interestingly enough, seeing that quad do that, even though any Mavic will do it, or half of these other, even the toy drones will do it, just seeing that quad that you built and programmed yourself, return home and land by itself, is more satisfying than flying a ready-built one that has all that programming built into it.
Yeah.
Steve Carpenter's here.
Yeah.
Ron Lockwood's here. Somebody's live stream must have ended or something.
You found
God, I don't know.
drone
Who's having live? Who else has got a live? I know Spike sent me an
started.
email. Yeah, he started. He sent. He's on my email list, so he actually returned the email to me and said that he couldn't make it because his live stream was starting, and he's doing like 4 of them a day now. I think
Wow.
I don't know how he does. Well, he does 3 or 4 a week on YouTube, and then he does them on Facebook and everything else. But let's see who's live. I know Night Train Mike is live right now. Spike is on. Paul Murray. Oh, he finished 39 minutes ago.
There you
So he was streaming. But no, that's it. Spike's the only one from our gang that's on right now. I guess the president's having his news conference, but you can always. Steve Carpenter says some of us are still working. Stingray, how you doing? Ray Kelly's still here.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Guys, I'm glad you came. I really almost, again, I don't know if I'm getting burnt out on this or I'm going to attribute it to all the uncertainty in the world right now.
Yeah.
And the uneasiness. But I just,
Could be.
all day today, I didn't have the enthusiasm to come on here
You know
tonight
what?
and do this.
I was the same way. I actually got up earlier today. I got up at like 6:30 and kind of roamed around and decided, what am I going to do? Had some breakfast, partied around a little bit, and took a nap in the morning. And I slept for about an hour. Oh man! I got up and I go, I gotta edit that video that I made yesterday, and I did that this afternoon. Got it uploaded on Chef Boy RT, my fudge video.
Is that the one I got the message for on Facebook?
Yep.
Messenger?
Yep. Yep, it's mint fudge.
Oh,
Using those, you remember Andy's mint patties, those little thin mint patties? Well, that's what I made it with. I lined the bottom of the dish with that, and I put the fudge over that, refrigerated it for a couple hours, and then took it out, and boy, it came out really good. The video is just a little over 7 minutes.
Andy's Candies. Isn't that
Yeah.
what they were called? Yeah.
Yep.
that doesn't ring a
And
bell with me at all.
oh,
You don't remember them?
yeah,
Andy's Candies?
Andy's,
Yeah.
the chocolate mints?
yeah, they have them at restaurants. They would give them to you as kind of
Oh, you
a
mean the little rectangular shaped ones
yeah,
Yeah.
wrapped
yeah,
in green foil? I
yeah,
never knew what the name of those was. Andy's Candies.
yep. And
Learn something every
DES,
day.
Andes. And yeah, so I'm going through the video and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a long ass video. So in the spots where it was like, oh, here I am pouring it in the dish, or I'm lining the dish with the Andes, I just kind of sped it up like 4x. So you see me go, boop, 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 and then plop, plop, plop. Spread it around, and hey, there it is.
I'm looking at.
Did a little B-roll. You see me putting the thing in the microwave, and instead of watching it go by for a minute, I started at 1 minute, and then next thing you know, 10 seconds left, and then ding, there you go, and then you see me mixing it up, and you use sweetened condensed milk, 3 cups of chocolate chips, and then you just mix it all up, zap it in the microwave, and then pour it into a bowl. I just added an extra step just to make it a little different. Sometimes, and what I did is I used dark chocolate, half with milk chocolate.
I found that video. You guys have probably seen this, but for those of you that haven't, I'm going to show it. I'm going to show it to you again. And this is that. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but this is that big orange helicopter. Back in the day when we were going to become commercial aerial photographers, and so that's how long I've had this helicopter, for probably 15 years. I haven't flown it in
Wow.
almost that long, but it's still like brand new. And I ran it up the other day, and it ran up fine. But this is the this is what it looks like, and under the underneath part, the part with the green landing gear, was pretty much the gimbal, if you can believe it. That's what we had to go through to get a stabilized camera, and the camera sat on a platform, and the helicopter. It took 2 guys to do it. The helicopter with the camera weighed 25 or more pounds.
Wow.
It was scary to be around. It was completely unstabilized, no flight controller, no nothing. And this is actually flying it just like you'd be flying a quad in acro mode. And every time a little gust of wind came along, it would kind of tilt it. The landing gear came up, kind of like what the Inspire does.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that was the first attempt. And back in the day, I built that helicopter. The helicopter cost $2,000, and that didn't even include all the electronics that went into it.
Oh boy.
So the flight controller for that helicopter, that 150 amp ESC, was not flight controller, but the ESC. That was $375 back in the day.
Right.
But you can see the size of that machine right there.
Wow.
And there's in the little window down there, you see the guy with the camera.
Yep.
That was my buddy Dave from Channel 9. He was one of the head photographers, and he was the photographer that went in the Channel 9 helicopter on all the news runs. And
Right.
What camera are you slinging there?
that was that Sony video camera that I have that I'm using for my workshop camera in here. It's just a regular
Wow.
Sony video camera. It would handle more weight than that, but it wasn't stabilized. It was stabilized very roughly, but nowhere near like the gimbals. The first time I saw the footage that came out of one of these DJI drones, I couldn't believe it after what we went through.
Yeah.
That was about as stable as we could get it.
Right.
So that's and it took two guys, one guy to fly the camera and the other guy to fly just like the Inspire deal, where you got
Right,
one guy
right,
flying the
right.
camera underneath, one guy flying the helicopter, and
Back in
I
the day, how far did you dare to go with that from you?
not much further than the end of the flying field.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and we did it. We actually did a couple of little jobs with it. One was at the University of Central Florida. They had some kind of a carnival outside of the main stadium, and we took it out there. And I don't know if we probably scared the shit out of anybody that was within 500 yards of us, because the noise that this thing made. The helicopter without that camera thing on the bottom was much more fun to fly, but with all that weight on it,
Yeah, I
it was very,
bet.
very, very tricky to fly. So since I still have that helicopter, and it's even got a canopy that isn't on here, but it actually has a little fuselage that goes on the front, makes it look more like a helicopter. Right there, it's just. But I've always wanted to put an autopilot in that thing.
See,
Something
this
that
is
would
what I'm talking about. You can still do that with an S1000 kit today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, with the cube and all that.
sure you could. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the Pixhawk 2 on there with the orange cube and program it primarily for stabilization, so that it'll be like a Mavic. You'd lift it off the ground and you don't have to fly it. It just sits there and does what goes where you tell it.
Yeah.
Now, you can throw it into acro mode and go and fly it and do maneuvers and have fun with it. But the idea of having that one switch, in case you get
Right.
disoriented about which way it's headed, having that one oh shit switch to throw,
Yeah.
which levels it off
Yeah.
and brings it back home, is the difference between actually enjoying taking these things out and flying them around, because they're fun to fly in unstabilized regular acro type mode, which
It's
is all
nice
we
to
ever
be
did.
able to unclench your butt cheeks every now
Right,
and then.
and that's
like-
really all we ever did with the helicopters was flying. We didn't have autopilots or stabilization or IMUs or GPSs or any of that crap back in the day. We had big machines that you had to know how to fly.
Right.
Where are the battery stacks? Is that
The
underneath
batteries
that
are
second?
they're in the fuselage, right
Okay,
in
you're
front of the
panning
motor.
up.
Yeah, they're in front of the motor. But the difference between there I am, 50 pounds heavier than I am now. Yeah, we called it Florida Skycam. I had a company and everything to do that with. But that was fun, and
Yeah.
I haven't actually flown. I haven't flown an RC helicopter in a lot of years, although I hadn't flown an RC airplane in a lot of years, and took them right out and flew them without autopilots or anything.
Right.
And it's like I never put the box down. But I'm going to ease back into the helicopters because they are
Right.
a lot trickier. And you guys
You should-
saw that.
Steve says you should throw a 3D camera on the bottom of that, Mitch.
I'm going to put all kinds. Once I get that thing flying, I'm going to have a lot of fun with that helicopter. I'm going to put all kinds of different kinds of cameras on it. This is the one here. I showed you guys this too, but while we're talking about flying helicopters, I'm going to find the scene in here where. Hang on, bear with me a second and see if I can find it. Where I was flying that big, remember that big yellow helicopter?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? I know I got it
I
in
don't
this.
know. Where is it?
That's a rhetorical question, Art.
Yeah. It's right over there. It's in that folder. Yeah.
Mitch, you bastard.
Yeah. It's under helicopter. Yeah.
Well, it's in this. I know it's in this. I think it's in this video. No, it's not in this video. I'm looking at the wrong video for it. No wonder I can't find it. This video is from a fly-in called the Joe Knoll fly-in, and the Joe Knoll fly-in is a big bird fly-in that that we have. That's every year up in Greenville, South
Nope.
Carolina.
That's a
And-
B-36.
Look at and the it's one of the biggest fly-ins in the world. Thousands of pilots come to this thing with airplanes. You can't believe this thing with just getting 6 of those motors running
Yep.
is something else. But that and when my buddy died, and we all had plans to go in 2000. This was taken in 2010. We went every year on up to 2012, and my buddy Stan, he died in 2013, and that's the last time I ever went up there, because that's
Wow.
when he died, I pretty much gave up on the hobby.
Doesn't seem that long ago, does it? 2010.
No, it doesn't, but it is long ago.
Yeah. I mean, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And
it was 10 years ago.
that B-36, that must be a copy of the X or the Y B-36, because it doesn't have the pylons for the jet engines. Because that had 4 jet engines and 6 propeller or piston engines.
Look at the
That's
size of
why
that Look at the size of that Stearman biplane that was there.
Yeah. That's why they called it 6 turning and 4 burning.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
Yep. And that was the first bomber that carried hydrogen bombs.
Here's the landing. Hey, Chris Hope, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that landing. And that runway was downhill too, which made things a little difficult.
Wow.
There I am. There's Mitch. So this is me flying. A scale helicopter that, and my buddy Stan, my friend who died, he was the cameraman here.
Right.
And between the two of us, we made a video every year, and I edited it up, and about 45-minute video of our adventures. And there was 4 or 5 of us that went up there every year, and but this was flying without any autopilots, without it. This is just line of sight, unstabilized, like flying a quad in acro mode. You know,
Right.
the thing has no stability whatsoever.
That one's gas?
No electric.
Well, how come you spun the motor then?
Because when you first start off, you can it's got nylon gears in it, and the motors have so much torque that if they have to work too hard to get the thing going, so you give it a little spin to get it just to keep from
Help it
loading
out.
up the gears.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but this there we go. So just fly it around.
Yeah, see, that harkens back to what I was saying. The guys who fly those, he didn't know what I was talking about when I said what
Yeah.
flight control system he's using.
Because there absolutely is no flight controller in there. You basically, when it's coming towards you, you have to fly it, left is right, right is left.
Yep.
But you don't think about it. You don't really think about it. That's when you fly RC long enough, it just becomes automatic.
Hmm.
Now, did that screw you up any when you got to flying things like DJI?
No, DJI drones, you just push the sticks and they go.
Hmm.
It may have helped me a little bit. It's hard to say whether it's helped me or hurt me with quads. Maybe my age, I certainly didn't learn to fly the quads, or have not gotten as good as a lot of these younger guys have gotten in a lot quicker period of time. But this was so that was a scale. That was kind of a scale looking
Yeah.
heli flight.
That's when you were a
This
young
is-
guy, my age.
Yeah, and this is that 3D helicopter flying, which I
Oh.
never liked, where you're flying upside down, right side up, tick-tocks back and forth.
That's like that 3D one. Was that the one like it's just on a monopod? You know what I'm talking about? The two blades, and it was all in one stick.
No,
like
no, that was a regular helicopter, and they got him to do all those kind of tricks
Oh,
by
okay.
having full reverse pitch on the rotor blades, so you could fly it upside down. Now this is me flying a little tiny helicopter that I didn't try to fly in a scale manner. I actually would whip this boy around a little bit, you know.
There you go.
Stan was having a hard time keeping up with it.
Was he yelling at you? Keep it in one place, damn it!
Anyway, that was that. But this is we had such a good time at this, and I miss it. These are the jets. That's Stan. That's my buddy. He was my best friend in the world. Stan and I were friends for 30 years. You know, he was the one guy that was like a brother to me.
Right.
And you know how when he died, it devastated me. It was like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like almost worse than a member of my family, because he was the one guy that he and I were like, there were things about him that I knew that nobody else knew. In other words,
Wow.
anytime he had any situation or problem, and I miss having a friend like that. He could tell me anything, ask me for any kind of advice, and I
Right.
could do the same with him. And our politics were completely aligned, and our religious views were completely aligned. I mean, the guy, we were like of one mind, and you don't meet too many people like that in your lifetime.
Yeah.
A brilliant guy. One of his hobbies was
that
rebuilding
Focke-Wulf.
old. What's that?
Focke-Wulf fighter. Oh, and there's a
GB
yeah.
Racer.
Yeah, I know my planes.
You know who Delmar Benjamin is the guy who built one of those things and flies
Oh.
it in air shows. And that's got to be the scariest single airplane in the world.
Yeah.
That thing is
Who's he?
it's all motor.
Yep.
Should we know him?
No, he's if you're a pilot, you'd know who Delmar Benjamin was. But he flies those GBs in air shows, and it's the scariest thing in the world.
Mhm.
But this was a great event. We had such a good time, and that's Scott SKS video. So you know those jet videos that you saw of me flying my jets.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that shot those videos, and he's still active today. He's got a YouTube channel and everything.
I think
SKS.
I've seen him on. He's been in the chat for Ken Heron's show.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
He's been around a long
SKS.
time, but he was the guy. Every jet meet that there was,
Right.
he went to and filmed them, and then made DVDs or even back in the day videotapes,
Right.
VHS. tapes.
VHS.
And then we bought them. And then we had memories of that particular event.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at the size of some of these airplanes. Though.
Wow.
Some of those big airplanes like that yellow and blue, and those things are $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 airplanes by the time you get them built. They've got motors in them. Some of them 4-cylinder gas, gas powered engines that cost $2,000. It's crazy.
Yep.
There you go. Look at that motor.
Yeah.
And now they've got radials too that actually look like the real radials.
Yep. Mhm.
It's a great hobby. It really is. And drones, all of us drone pilots are really an offshoot of RC flying, although
Yep.
it seems that the camera drone guys don't really appreciate any of the heritage of
Yeah.
the RC because they were never involved in RC. But
Well, when
I have a lot of this kind of footage, and I enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much you guys would enjoy it, but it is interesting. I know that RC channels on YouTube are huge. There are some, especially the crash videos. You put out a good crash video, you're going to get millions of views, especially if it involves crashes with turbine jets going up in balls of fire.
You just can't keep away from them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else in this particular video that is really.
Back up.
Really?
There was a P38.
Yeah, that was my buddy Arnold right there.
Oh, there
Look at the size. Look at the size of this thing.
Yeah. That's a flying boxcar.
Look at that. Look
Yeah.
at the size of that.
That was the plane that was used in Flight of the Phoenix when they
That's
crashed
right.
the desert.
And that's my buddy Arnold Marcus right there.
Uh,
Arnold is he was at least 80 something years old. He's
Wow.
got to be he's like 12 years older than me, so he's in his mid 80s right now, and the guy still flies.
Wow.
Flies RC, and he flies these big scale warbirds, P-38s, Corsairs. That's the kind of stuff he flies.
mhm.
And he's always working on them. So I made this video, and every 5 minutes I would cut to a scene of Arnold working on his airplane. Just now that right here was actually a turbo prop,
Oh, okay.
and I just saw it. Where was it? There it is.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah. Come on. There it is. That's a turbo prop.
Yep.
Look at that. Incredible technology in this hobby.
Yep.
But that's just a cool sounding airplane in the air too. There's Arnold on the ground working on his airplane.
Yeah.
And they had this lake out there, this property. The guy named Pat Hartness bought this property, like 900 acres up there in about 30 miles south of Greenville, South Carolina. It's called the Triple Tree Ranch, and he's an industrialist up there. He's a fairly wealthy guy, and he bought this loves the hobby, and he bought this entire property and built it out primarily as a place to have big RC fly-ins, if you can believe that. And they call it the Joe Knoll, Nall, Joe Knoll, named after Joe Knoll, and they have it once a year in May up there, and then now they have one in the fall too. And it's incredible the work and the work they put into building this property out as a place to
Right.
come and have these enormous fly-ins. It's really fabulous. Anyway, that's a little break from the coronavirus chit-chat.
Does he still have that, Mitch? Does he still have it going?
Oh yeah, the Jonah, they still have it every year. I keep threatening to go up there, but I'd probably break my heart to go up there and remember some of these guys that aren't with us anymore. You know, they used to go up with every year, and it wasn't just the flying; it was the whole week. And one of the guys that was in our little group that went up there is a fellow named Don Lowe. And if you're into RC, if you're anything to do with RC or the AMA, you would know that name. Don Lowe was one of the big players in the RC hobby. He was instrumental in the early days of the AMA. He was an airplane designer, and he had designed kits that were built. And,
Right.
one of the most famous aerobatic kits, called the Phoenix 7, was one of his designs. Don was about 10 years older than me, and just the nicest guy, but he was royalty. He was royalty. One of the streets in this big park was called
Right.
Don Lowe Boulevard. That's the kind of guy he was. And he was we were with Don Lowe when we went up there. So we were first in line. We were first in line at the barbecue. We had our own private table at the barbecue. We had a tent right front and center on the flight line. I mean, so I got the royal treatment, even though I'm a nobody. It was wonderful. It was a great way to go. Great way to go. You're welcome, Ron. I got plenty of that kind of stuff. If you guys like that stuff, I've got year after year after year of the stuff I shot up at Joe Knoll. And I didn't, back in those days, we didn't make a lot of videos and pictures like everybody does today. There was no cell phone cameras back in those days.
Right.
People weren't doing video editing back in those days. And that's why I don't have a lot of myself flying, because I was always the guy behind the camera. Art is distracted, Gary says, and Jim says, and we know why.
Yeah, we know why.
Art doesn't realize how much that hurts my feelings.
He don't care.
I mean, he doesn't realize how much that hurts my feelings. That I'm so, when it comes to his hero, his idol, Ken
He's
Herron,
itching. He can't wait.
it's like,
Over there, I'm sure.
I got news for you.
Hi, everybody.
Let me tell you something, Art. Nobody will miss you if you're not there at 8:00.
No, he started it at 7:55 tonight.
Oh shit! Well, then you better get going, Art.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for asking. Take care. Great as always. You
All
guys are fun. Take care,
Good to
everybody.
see you. Good to see you, buddy. You take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I got that notification. That's why Gary was saying Art is distracted.
Yeah. Well, look.
All right, Mitch, can I tell you a little something now that it's quieted down? I got past this 3 dots, you can't go to somebody's channel nonsense. If you go up to your Google Chrome extensions, you go up to the 3 dots in Google Chrome,
Yeah.
you hit more tools.
Okay.
You're on, so you can't do it right now. You hit extensions, and then you go down to the bottom. You hit the 3 stacks in extensions. It goes down to the bottom. It says Open Chrome Web Store. Okay, so
Okay.
after you open the Chrome Web Store, you just put on something called Go to Channel.
Really?
Yep, don't ask me why, but it's an extension now. And everybody's name in my channel is green. But if I press on their names, I can go right to their channel.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So it's a Google
Extension.
a Chrome extension. Yeah, I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Called Go to Channel.
Well, the word was,
Yeah.
at first we thought it was something wrong with YouTube, but then the word trickled down that they did away with that to try to stop the sub for sub crap.
I don't know, but who?
I don't either. And I don't care. His email went bing and he was gone. Yeah, Gary. Hey, that's all right. Look, art is art. art is art. I had I'm happy. I had a nice little group of guys here tonight. We got to talk about different things and different subjects, and I think that RG pilot is going to be a lot of fun, Jim. And
I've been following that HERE project since they started. I really like the whole outfit. It makes it
it's
a lot
expensive
easier.
though. It's like $800 for that controller.
But you still control what you put it on. You know what I mean? Like, I was actually looking at buying an S1000 frame and making my own out of it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, you can build a heavy lift drone for one hell of a lot less money by just building it yourself than buying it from one of these companies that are building it for people that don't know anything about drones.
Right.
You can certainly build one of those things up. They're not that complicated, and you put that RG Pilot controller on there, and like I say, they've got LiDAR sensors that just plug right into it now.
If you look on Makerspace and all that, they sell LiDAR sensors right on there, man. You can get them for $30.
Yeah, I know. And I think that I don't know if you figured this out about me yet, but I bore quickly with things. Always been that way. I've always been one of these. I jump into something like OCD, got to do everything there is, and then I say, okay, did that. What's next?
Yeah.
And I got that way with the DJI drones. It didn't take me very long.
I kept
That's
getting
it.
frustrated with what I couldn't do with them. Is where I was at.
And you've taken it a lot further than I have. You've gone a lot more into the commercial realm of it. For me, I've always been a hobbyist, and yeah, I was going to do some commercial work, but I found out real quick there wasn't enough money in it to be worth it
live.
all. So
Yeah.
I said, this has always been my hobby. So all of a sudden it was, boy, this FPV stuff looks like fun. so that was about a year ago. And now I'm at a point with FPV where the challenge of I can fly them. I don't want to be a Mr. Steele. I don't care if I
Yeah, that's
ever
that
get
was
to
never
be
the
the
target.
Right. I mean, I will tell you this though, with all the FPV flying, I evidently I'm not interested in that because I've never crashed one of them. I mean, not once did I ever crash an FPV quad or break a prop even. I don't. It's not that I'm that great a pilot. That's how conservative I am in my flying. It comes from I've said this before. 50 years in the RC hobby of flying airplanes that took you months to build.
Well,
And and one crash and they were turned into a pile of sticks and covering, So
That's
you
why
become
I've said
very.
you'll never see me with a range test video or any nonsense like that. That I'm not intrigued in losing $2,000 in the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even if it's not the money of $100 FPV quad, I'm not the guy who's going to try to prove that I can fly between branches this far apart by turning the quad up on its side as it goes through. These guys go through 50 GoPro cameras a year doing the crap. You don't see this stuff. They show you the stuff on YouTube that works, but you don't see the damage and disaster. But that's what they do. That's their thing. They have to prove. And they're amazing pilots. I was the same way with helicopters. I was never hovering them 3 inches off the ground inverted. One little touch of the ground, these things don't just crash like a quad. They explode. A helicopter will explode into, not in flames, but into a twisted mess of bent up metal.
I don't want to be
parts.
around. Yeah, where you don't know where the blades are going to go.
No, I mean, it's just not. It's why they're not too popular now because quads are so much more rugged and so much easier to fix, and they suffer so much less damage. Timeless Truth's got me an old guy's heavy lift quad channel. Yeah, there you go, Jim. You and I will be in the business. We'll build heavy lift quads that nobody wants to buy.
I wouldn't have gone to the extent I did if there was one that was magnetic resistant, electrical field resistant. The EMI was what was making the other drones go crazy. You were losing what they call the toilet bowl effect. I don't. It circles around, but it doesn't circle around. You lose control, and it's going into expensive power line equipment or something like that.
Well, for the Arduino, they have makes an RTK GPS module. Costs $600, but it's RTK. Gives you centimeters of accuracy.
I've got 2 centimeter accuracy, but is it electromechanical interference?
I have no idea.
You got to shield your equipment somehow, but still be able to get your signal out. It's not the easiest.
Yeah, I'm sure they take some engineering but it's going to be interesting, and if nothing else, it'll give me something new to talk about on the channel here and in the workshop. Airplanes and helis and quads and diverse. I don't want to become a reference for tutorials or anything like that. It's a hobby. So if I'm interested in it, I'll do it. In the long run, I have all this stuff, so it's really pretty cheap. I'm basically resurrecting some stuff I've had in the closet for years.
What's been
I
your
would-
most frustrating with all of this? With the OBS, with the drones, the flying, what's been the most frustrating for you?
Nothing.
Nothing? None of it's frustrating?
Nothing. I'm not the kind of guy that will allow myself to get frustrated. If something gets, I don't try to make shit work unless it's pretty clear how it's going to work. I'm not really a pioneer, so I kind of keep it to the simpler stuff with the OBS. I'm a very basic user of OBS. There's a lot more I could do, but I don't want to work that hard.
Here, Steve. Steve tells you need a base station for reference points. Okay, here's an RTK base station for you. We know that.
I think this kit comes. Mark says, "Have I tried FPV planes?" Yeah, Mark, I have. I got a couple of them here, and I've flown them. I've had them for months, and when the weather permits, I've flown them, and it's a blast. And I've got iNav in them, so I've got them with flight controllers and goggles, and they have auto launch. One of them is got wheels on it, and the other one is a hand launch, and it's got auto launch, and it's got loiter mode, return to home, or you just throw it into manual and fly it like a regular RC airplane, and they're a blast. I think I did I've got so many videos. I have to dig them up. Let me see if it's getting late. I don't care. I'm competing with Ken Hur, and I got 8 people in here, but I care more about the 8 people that are still here than I do about what Ken's doing, because he's talking about pigeon jerky. I can pretty well guarantee, and he's got Jeff Stills talking about the Mavic Air 2. So let's see, what am I looking for? I'm looking for.
That's like going backwards. You know that? I don't understand that.
It supposedly got a better camera. But how good do these cameras have to be, for God's sake? That's the thing that kills me is.
Well, you see, your pixel binning when you're talking, they don't understand this. When you're talking about 48 megapixels,
Yeah.
the sensor is pixel binning, stealing from the sensor next to it, the pixels next to it, to make a 48 megapixel picture. You didn't gain anything in pixel size, sensor size, none of that.
Oh, I agree.
I looked into the Sony IMX 383 and 586 sensors. They're not bigger or better, they're actually smaller.
Is this what I'm looking for? Yeah, this.
I think more people are like Mark. They're going to be trying to build their next one.
Here we go. This is for Mark. This was the binary my first test flight. And even though you're looking at the goggles view, I actually flew it line of sight in manual mode just to make sure that it flew. And I don't know how long I set here, but let me move it ahead to where we take off. There we go. But this was a twin engine airplane, and you can see by all the OSD data, it has iNav in it, and
Is this out at the field? Yeah.
yeah, this is out at the Erks field, the Model Airplane Club field up at the dump up at in Cocoa. But I wasn't flying this through the goggles at this time. I was flying it just like you fly a normal RC airplane. You just look at it and fly it. But it's kind of cool because it's got the you can see the GPS positions up top. Right under the left GPS where it says 60, that's the throttle setting. The little arrow that's moving around there is pointing back to home. The little house with the number 180, 160, that's the distance to home. Up to the right of that is my satellite count.
How big's your wingspan on that, Mitch?
1 meter.
1 meter. There you go, Mark.
No, it's bigger. It's actually bigger than 1 meter. It's about 1,200 millimeters. Yeah, 1,200. It's about a little over 4 foot wingspan. But you can see the speed. I've got both ground speed and air speed. See that? In fact, you can see the pitot tube sticking out right there off the nose in the center.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got an airspeed sensor in it.
Is that the 47, 48?
What? Yeah. 44, 43 is the one that says air to the left of it.
Right.
That's airspeed, and the other one is GPS ground speed. The number on the right side of the ladder is the 194, 195. That's altitude. So you see, it's like 110 right now. That's altitude. The 501 milliamp hour is how much battery I've used, and 86% is how much I've got left. The mode says MANU. That's manual mode. The RSSI is over on the right, just above where it says 98, 99. That's my signal strength, radio signal strength. And the flight time is above that. And the VTX video channel and power setting is F3. And I think I was about 350 milliwatts set there. But that's what it looks like to fly fixed wing through the goggles. It's really a blast.
What camera you got on that? 'Cause
That
that's pretty
is
recent.
Yeah, that's a what did I have on it at that time? I think I had a Cadex Turtle. Now I've got a Tarsier on it, which has the 4K, is the dual lens camera that records 4K video, and it's on a tilt and pan too, so you can tilt it to the side, pan.
Are you going to get one of those Cadex Vista? The DJI?
I have one. I got one.
The
I
DJI
got-
setup?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
one. I haven't put it in anything yet, but I did get one because they're hard to get. And I was on a list at Raceday or Get FPV and email me when they come in because they would sell out in a minute. So they came in $150. I said, let me just get one. I'll put it in something. I want to
Yeah.
build a really tiny quad with a DJI system on it.
With a good camera, yeah.
Yeah, but this
That might be more interesting, yeah.
Let me put this on hold. This is this is what I was flying right here. This airplane here. Now this isn't mine, but this is a picture of one of them. I got some pictures of mine, but I couldn't
that
find
foam?
it. Yeah,
All right, they sell that Big Bertha kit. It looks similar.
they're all foam. They're all foam anymore. Let me see if I can actually find a picture of mine. There's the Tars. This is mine here. This is the Tarsier camera. I was just wanting to show the 3D printed mount, tilt and swivel mount that I built for that. I got some other, what's this here? That was the landing. This is when I first getting ready. I don't know. Yeah, this is all pictures from the actual airplane camera. Oh, this was the high def. This was the same footage, only with it was actually shot from the. This did have the Tarsier on it, so this was the footage shot from the Tarsier camera. At the same time that the footage you just saw before was from the FPV camera, but this was from the high def camera.
That's not bad at all.
No, it isn't. I don't know if it's got any sound to it or not. Yeah, it does. Hear the wind? You can hardly hear the motors running because the motors were behind the camera. Anyway. Now this is totally manual flying line of sight, so there was no stabilization on, no nothing. These things get pretty stable when you click them into angle mode or, you know, some of the automatic flight modes.
I've never tried putting one of these drones into FPV mode and seeing what that looks like.
You know, I did that. I flew Mavic in FPV mode, and it does. It banks it over when you move the right stick, but not the left stick. So when you actually make the turn with the left stick, you don't get the yaw.
Oh,
only
you know?
when you move the right stick over. Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, that was a lot of fun. I'm trying to see if I actually have I got here. What is this? I think this is the yeah, this was the wing. There, you see the shadow of the wing?
Yeah.
There it goes. And I was actually flying this through the goggles. So this was a flight that I was flying through the goggles at the park down there in Palm Bay with the flying wing. And this is what, whoops. And at that point, I accidentally disarmed the thing. So now I had no motor. So, and I thought I could rearm it, but it wouldn't let me rearm it. So I figured, well, okay, no motor. Guess we have to come in and land. So there we go. And then I said, what the hell was that all about? So figured it out, went back, took off again. And here you see up at the top of the center, it says loitering around home. So that's an automated flight mode. And I'm right at 230 feet thereabout, give or take a foot or two. It's holding its altitude pretty good. And it's flying a circle around the GPS home point. Hands off. I was just let it go. So it holds altitude, it knows where it is, and it just keeps flying circles around the home point. And I think what I did was I think I took it off without the goggles in auto launch, and I had it set to loiter. So what auto launch does is it automatically flies it up for 5 seconds and then turns the control back to you. But if you
Do you set the height?
you can set the altitude in the software in iNav. But if you have the if they have the loiter switch set, then when it gets done the auto launch, it automatically just goes to loiter. So what you do is you take the airplane, you give it a toss, turn around, go back, get your goggles. You don't have to look at the airplane. It's going to take off, climb, and then just start circling. When you're ready, like I am right here, to put it in manual mode, and I was flying pretty far away from it, right over there. But I went back into manual mode to just fly it around with the goggles, and that's what I'm doing right now. 53 miles per hour. See it at 55, 50, 46 over on the left.
Yeah.
The little arrow way down at the bottom points to the home point, right under the satellite count. I don't think you can see that. It's not showing up on.
What's that what is that, the round trip? The 267, 290 in the center bottom?
Oh, no, that's heading. That's your heading, compass heading.
Oh, I thought the other one,
So-
that's altitude. Okay.
Yeah, the one on the right in the middle is the altitude. The one on the left in the middle is the airspeed. And you can see there's an artificial horizon in the center. You see it actually moving with the airplane. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty gusty day, too. So it was bouncing around a little. But the FPV fixed wings, they're a blast, too. You know, it's all fun. It's really all fun. quads, it's like it's flying. It's a different. You have to fly differently with a fixed wing. With a fixed wing, it's what they call bank and yank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see so
with
many
a quad,
of these.
it's a whole different. With a quad, it's a whole different way of flying.
A lot of the old wooden ones I've seen too.
Oh, I have built tons of those things. I have 2 or 3 of them laying in the closet. The built up RCs, electrics that haven't flown in years. So I've got enough airplanes to keep me with something to do for a while.
What really doesn't grab me much is the VTOL now. Like
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you take off and then transition from vertical to forward flight.
Yep. But it's not interesting me at all.
Anyway, this is fun. We could go on like this all night. But it's getting late, and I think we got 5 people left. I think it's time to say goodnight.
Yeah, I got to refresh my
so
coffee.
we don't overstay our welcome. Well, Jim, thanks for coming in. I enjoyed having you.
No problem, buddy.
Yeah,
Enjoyed being here.
Yeah, we always find something interesting to talk about, and because you and I are both into the technology aspect of this, unlike a lot of the other guys that are the DJI guys, and
you just
anyway,
start to question it. You know what I mean? How is it doing? Well, I got to be. Yeah,
But I think this RG Pilot stuff's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I think I will take this Marmot and flash RG Pilot on it, because it's pretty easy to set up a quad and experiment a little bit with this. It's got the DJI FPV system in it. I don't really need any telemetry to fly around FPV.
I think I had asked you a while ago, didn't I? Why you hadn't started with RG Pilot?
I don't know if you did. Maybe you did, and I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, back when you were doing beta flight, and then you went into iNav. But I think it was back at the beta flight I asked you if you had tried RG Pilot, only because I knew it had the mission planner and all that, and I thought, okay, well, he's not interested in that.
I really wasn't aware. I'd heard of the Pixhawk hardware, but to me, I thought that was all old school crap.
Right.
I thought it was, and the original Pixhawk stuff is old school stuff now, but this new stuff they're coming up with is cutting edge, and they're coming up with all this new stuff simply because of the explosion in commercial drone use. And they're not flying. UPS is not building their drone control systems around beta flight. That's for sure. They're using something like RG Pilot, or starting with it's open source code, so they could start with RG Pilot, hire some top-notch programmers, and turn it into whatever they want. But it's still going to resemble RG Pilot because of the amazing control and redundancy in this hardware, and the sensors and everything.
It's going to be a pre-planned waypoint system. I can see them already doing it. As a package comes in with the address.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be fun to fool around in that realm and see how that works. So thanks for coming in, Jim. I really appreciate it. And Mark, thank you for coming in. Timeless Truths. What is the terminology for the upside down multi-rotor or pancake stick in heavy lift quad or 8X? I don't have any idea what you're talking to. Jim would have been the guy to answer that, and he just left. So come back next time, and we'll see if we can figure out. Feels like he's flying the Acrobrat. I need to Ron Levesque, thanks for coming in. Steve Carpenter, thank you, buddy. Always a pleasure to have you. Hey, Kenny, I didn't even see you there. Cardoso, thanks for coming in. And Jim above and beyond, Gary Brandt, who else? I think that probably accounts for everybody that's still here. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But here I didn't think we'd have enough to fill up a show tonight, and sure enough, I end up with going a half hour over. So with that, my drill. I will bring up my music. give you guys the rest of the night off. Go play with your drones if they ever let us out of the house. And with that, I'm going to bury myself knee-deep in ArduPilot, try to learn something, and maybe on Sunday I'll be able to talk about it with a little experience. So we will see you on Sunday at 8 o'clock for the FPV workshop. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my trusty sidekick Spank, the monkey, and let him say goodnight. Say goodnight, Spanky.